Hello, welcome to my podcast. This is great. You go Grace or Gracie? 'Cause I have you down
Gracie.
as Gracie. Gracie, okay.
Gracie. Yeah.
Um, and we've been planning on talking for a while. It's just kind of like getting together where we're both available on the same day. And we officially like met when I was in like fourth grade, I think. Like you
I
were
was in
like a
third.
toddler. I think I think you
No,
were
I
like
was third
I
grade.
thought you were, oh, were you? Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
and because your brother, one of your brothers was in my grade.
They're both younger, but I think there was a meshed class
Yeah.
because I remember you coming over and first meeting you. I remember our first meeting.
Okay. Yeah, and one of your brothers acted like Animal from the Muppets.
Yes, very much
Yeah,
so. Yeah.
which of course I thought was great. And then over the years, like, we went many years not I think we went to different schools or whatever, and
Yeah,
then
we
and then
did.
we ended up finding each other again through the BBS community
Right.
in our teens. And then we just
Exactly.
kind of and then it was like, went through our 20s, and then we just kind of occasionally bump into each other, and then,
Yep.
social media allowed us to maintain a connection.
And postcards. Like
Yes.
the postcards. Oh my gosh. I can't remember what year it is, but I know I have that we started, but I know I have postcards from you from 2008. And I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it was before that we were
Wow.
doing the postcard exchange.
It's very possible because I mean I've been doing it. I started sending postcards when I was like 8, so I started doing it pretty young. But then after Live Journal, I started connecting to people
Oh,
like
yeah.
all over the place, and that's when I really got into like sending out like all the time. I would just send out my photos and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, but I don't remember everybody I sent, like I used to send handwritten letters to some of my friends, like Jan and Sean and stuff. And I still have
Same
the
here.
letters they sent me.
Same
Like,
here. I still have the stories that Sean would write and like the letters from Jan when they were in college. It's like
yeah.
so
And I've
long
been
ago.
saving them to like give them back at some point because it was during those years of like when we kind of don't really retain some of those details. And I thought it'd be cool for them to go
Yeah.
back to those memories. And
Very
yeah, that's
cool.
so
Yeah, right
cool.
on.
That's fun. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm glad that we got to do that. And I didn't say my podcast name because I want to change it. So
Okay.
I'm like, I never was happy with it. And I just, after almost an entire year of episodes, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to commit to the whole pain in the ass thing of changing the name of my podcast. I just don't know to what yet. So,
Okay.
um, yeah,
Okay.
I don't
Cool.
know.
I did listen to your first episode this morning. And so you're kind of going on like, I think I'll call it this, but maybe I'll change it, and just the whole like how it was going
Yeah.
about. So like there we go. It's a
Yep.
full circle.
Yep. Yeah. So, the whole thing. So how have you been? What's going on?
I've been living life, doing the things. I just celebrated my 46th birthday a couple weeks ago, so I'm like, wow,
Happy
I'm
late birthday.
thank you, thank you. It's been a wild ride, but here I am still, and still doing. I started doing content creation myself a couple years, 3 years ago now. Yeah, a little over 3 years ago, and it's really been a fun ride doing the
Nice.
YouTube posting and not so much Instagram. I'm not on TikTok, but it's been it's a fun experience, and
So
hope to someday soon do some Twitch streaming. I just need to find a good space to do it, and like I said earlier before you started filming, I'm in my hallway right now because it's the quietest spot in my little studio.
yeah.
So
Um so I don't think I'm subscribed to your YouTube, so I definitely need to change that. And what kind of I know you do some ASMR stuff. Is that like your
mhm.
primary focus?
It is. It is. Yep. The
And how
name of the channel is Gracie B ASMR, and that's BEE.
okay. And
So
how did you get into that?
I let's see, it was during the pandemic that I started kind of I wasn't working for a good year and a half because pandemic happened and just burnout at the same time was like, yeah, no, it's just, I'm not. I quit my job and did a lot of self searching and things of that nature because it wasn't going to work, just trying to figure out what to do. And I, it's a very odd story how I came about with the ASMR and how I discovered it, but I was watching the television show Dexter, and the intro to that show is very interesting. It's very because they show the main character eating, tying a shoelace, cooking ham. So that you get the sizzles, you've got the pulling of the strings that makes this noise. And I was like, why am I so into this? And I was looking into like why people are like really drawn to certain noises, and that came up. And then I watched a TED talk on ASMR. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why I every time like I hear tissue crinkles, I kind of get these chills in the back of my neck, and I can just zone out to it and kind of it's relaxing. And so
Yeah.
that became my journey. It was like learning about it. And then through that TED talk and then looking into the videos on YouTube and going, wow, this is really cool. And found that it really did help me to sleep and relax. And I decided after probably 6 months of watching content, I'm like, since I wasn't working at the time, I'm like, well, you know what? Let's try making videos because I've been making videos since I think my early 20s. I mean, I remember visiting Sean, bringing my camcorder with me, and we shot little home movies. And I have this a collection of videos that Sean and I shot. It was really fun. So I'm like, I can do this, and kind of just went from there. And I've met a lot of people in the ASMR community, and they're very nice people, very friendly, and they're all wanting to do the same thing, is to help people sleep, to help people relax. And so I've kind of found a little niche that makes me really happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sound is like this, like when I hear something that my brain likes, it's like throughout my whole body, right? And I'm sure you remember I was always very particular about music and stuff. And it
Yeah.
ends up that like a lot of the music that I'm drawn to is very, very complex, but also utilizes panning like a lot. And of course, there's like that whole ADHD brain thing with panning that people recently discovered. And I was like, yeah, I kind of figured that out a long time ago. But I also have misphonia, and I don't know if I said it right. I know how it's spelled. And so certain noises have the opposite effect on me.
Yeah,
And
I have
so
that
the
too.
beginning of the Dexter TV show, not great. Not
Oh, it's the
like
opposite for you.
oh
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
except for the sizzling, everything else is like, especially eating sounds.
Chewing is a big one for people. Yeah.
Oh my God. And whispering sends me into a rage. Like
Oh, no.
it's awful.
Oh, that's
So
different.
for a
Wow.
while TikTok was like pushing ASMR on me, and it was like whispering and mouth noises, and I was like not interested. Please no. There's some ASMR that's cool and enjoyable and
Yeah.
stuff, and then there's some of it that's like, oh no. And
Yep.
I just took a pain class that was the Stanford made this app that uses I don't know how to say the word binaural.
Binaural. Yeah.
Yeah.
Binaural.
And then and you're supposed to do like breathing exercises while listening to these frequencies, except that there's a person talking through the entire thing over the frequencies telling you what to do. And I have pathological demand avoidance, so do not tell me what to do. And mouth
Yeah.
noises, so I can't actually utilize the tool because they don't offer just the frequency without the speech track. And I'm thinking about emailing them and being like, hey, do you think you guys could add just the tone? Because I already do the breathing exercises every day, so I don't need someone telling me what to do. Plus, it's really triggering for me. Like I literally want to smash stuff. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hate my brain sometimes. Like I'm like, why why can't you just accept that? Like I understand the
Uh-huh.
reason for it. Why do you hate it so much?
right? I'm learning like pathological demand avoidance. I learned recently what that was because I read it in like PDA. Well, I learned something different, but I was reading an article about neurodivergence. I'm like, okay, what is this? I'm like, that's why when people tell me what to do, I'm like, don't want to
Yeah.
do it.
Oh,
Do it to make you happy because I don't want to hear you bitch about it. But
I will. I just won't. And if I'm already doing it and someone comes and tells me to do something I'm already doing, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I'll just walk away. I just,
it's like I'm done. I was in my own
yeah.
brain doing the thing, and now you're what the hell?
I
Yeah.
was having fun. You ruined it for me. Like, like, yeah, the one that is really particular to me, and I'm always very excited when I find someone has it in common, are things like good morning and like those kind of like saying good morning or good night, those stress me out like a lot. And I used to just think it was because I'm not good at small talk, but it ends up that it can be part of the PDA response thing as well.
So those
And
general greetings. Yeah.
yeah, and I found that when I befriend uh certain, like types of people, like I don't know if they're neurotypical or they're just very habitual, they'll say the same things at the same time every day. Like they make sure to text good night, Leigh, every single day. And I'll start getting stressed about an hour before. And I have to tell them,
Oh
can
no.
you not, I know you're trying to be nice, but it doesn't work for my brain. I have nothing to say in response to good night. Like, and also don't
Yeah.
tell me what to do. So, and that usually that friendship doesn't last long because they can't, everybody else, they don't do that. So it's not a problem.
Mhm.
So it's so weird. It's like, but it's so nice to have words to describe because I used to just think that I didn't belong on this planet, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And as the more I learn about it, it's like I wasn't as a kid, I wasn't more like not belonging, though some days it was like, what's going on? Why am I don't feel like I'm in my body or really paying attention because I was often like just daydreaming, really. I did that a
Yeah.
lot. I still do it a lot. I'll be at work trying to do something and then I'll just look out the window and I'm like, spend 5 minutes staring out the window. And it's just like I'm in my body, but I'm not present. It's yeah, but
Yeah.
that's like as I think I mentioned, yeah, I did mention to you that I was recently diagnosed with autism. Uh, and so in that journey of learning about it, it's like all the things that I've done for years since I was a kid. Oh, I'm learning the names for it. I'm learning that
Yeah.
it's a thing. It's not me being super weird. It's a thing my brain's doing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's so freeing. But at the same time, it's like, wow, I wish I would have known this sooner.
Right. Yeah.
I
They're
wish I would have known this to self-advocate, to know this is why I'm having such not a temper tantrum, but just not being able to function and having a meltdown, not knowing that it's because I'm overwhelmed.
yeah.
Yeah, like, but,
Yeah. God, so many like I went through this period of mourning when I was younger because there were a lot of things that I couldn't do that I wanted to do, like going to school and stuff. I couldn't make it work and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't make it work. And then when I found out, about the neurodivergence and stuff, it was like all of a sudden I got really excited because all of a sudden I had an understanding for why I was the way I was. And then I had to go through like the mourning process again because it was like, realizing the reason why I couldn't handle school was because I didn't have the tools for how my brain works. And the reason why I was always so socially isolated was because of, you know, the way my brain works. And, it was just the stuff. And I was just like,
yeah.
man, I thought I was done with that part.
Yeah, I still have moments where I go through that morning because it's so new to me. Like
Yeah.
really, I think I started to self-diagnose after learning about autism. Like it took me 6, 7 months learning about it before it started to kind of click for me. And like, this sounds so familiar to me. All
Yeah.
these things, and then had an official diagnosis, which that all ended in early March. And so I'm just like a few months into the whole this is actually really a thing. And, accepting myself, that's the hard part, is
Yeah.
that I'm the same me, but I can kind of let down those walls and the masks that I've built up over the decades to be able to fit in to conversations, to be able to fit in with groups of people. And now it's like, okay, how are they going to act with me now? And I'm like, yeah, I don't care about that. Can we talk about something else, or just like not answer them? I find
Yeah.
myself kind of staring off into like, okay, someone's talking to me. I don't care about what they're saying, but I'm going to try to smile because that's what they want to see, instead of me saying, I'm done now. I'm done with this conversation. Can I walk away?
Yeah,
Which I actually have done at parties.
I
Just like
used to
small talk. No.
I used to be like that. Like people did not like me because I was so abrasive and stuff. And I've been trying to get back to that because the sort of like deferring to other people and masking, it's like I learned it through traumatic experiences in the workplace and stuff like that over the years. And so it became this habit that I did without realizing. But I started it way later. I didn't start masking really early the way that a lot of people do. It was like I just sort of bulldozed and did whatever. So when I did finally start masking, I was doing this way where I mean, I think it's part of what ended up making me so sick in 2013 was because I was in this workplace that was just not, it was super toxic and I had to make myself super small to be there. And I couldn't handle, like, it was an open office environment and it
Oh,
was just really,
that's awful.
really bad. And they just tore me down. And they were like those really negative hipster types as well, who
Um,
think they're more important than they are. And just, they're like there's like so back in the day people that were computer programmers or whatever, they were almost always like nerds, right?
I
and
remember.
then
Yeah.
and then when people started figuring out that you can make money being a computer programmer, then you started having people come in who weren't really nerds anymore. They're just people who went to school and learned how to be a hamster in the wheel. And so it was really weird for me after working in the tech industry for all those years, to get a job where I was working with people that were like normies and they thought about stuff like normies, but and I hadn't, my previous jobs at startups were with people that had like purple hair and wore different color socks and ate the same thing every day at 4 p.m. And, that was what I
Yeah.
was used to. So people I could relate to. And then I got into this other work environment where they were like, you have too much personality. You need to tone it down, or it doesn't matter that you're distracted by stuff in your environment or whatever. And it was like, was just I was just like, these people are not, what is happening? But it like that's where my health issues started after like 5 years of the stress of that environment. And I think like a big part of it was the stress that I was internalizing because I was trying to like survive in that environment, you know? And
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
burnt out bad. Like when I tried to do some bookkeeping for a friend of mine, like 2 years ago, and I couldn't, I would start to fatigue like right away. And I could go do other stuff that use my brain similarly, and I did not fatigue, which means that it's a burnout, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, damn, it's been a decade and I'm still burnt out from that. Like, and then I
Yeah.
started learning about autistic burnout, which is different than regular burnout. And was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't really gotten to heal that because I have been basically full-time job health issues for the last decade. So, okay, okay.
Yeah. And that adds to everything as well. It's like all the health issues that pop up, and you're like, what's going on? And then I know I've been talking to you about it for, years now, and that you just want the answers. Like,
Yeah,
what's going on? You get this runaround with one doctor, you get the runaround with another doctor, and they tell you one thing, and another doctor tells you the other thing, and you're like, yeah, that's conflicting. And what's really going on? Please take the time to actually talk to me and figure it
yep,
out, instead of
yep,
deflecting and saying, you're just stressed.
yep.
because
Yeah,
that's
no,
the one I loved the most is, oh, you're just stressed, get, take some, anxiety courses, to get some therapy. And then like had to respond to a doctor saying, I've been doing that. There's something
yeah,
else going on with me. Can we do some tests? And
yep,
they're like, well, take this medication. It turns out that medication started to work and addressed my issues. So now I have that diagnosis. But it took 5 years of
yep,
not being diagnosed correctly and being blown off by doctors. And it's tiring. It's
yep.
so tiring. And I know you know
It,
that.
yeah, I mean, I am on my fifth primary, my fourth GI, and my GI, he's basically like, um, not real sure what's going on, but he thinks it's this. But now I'm having gallbladder issues and he doesn't want to touch it because he doesn't want to make the other stuff worse. But I have gallbladder pain all the time and I'm
Oh,
not digesting my food correctly. And so now he's like, well, I'll send you out for a second opinion to UCSF because Stanford doesn't do second opinions. And I'm like, okay.
yeah.
Like I don't, and we're still not really sure if the diagnosis he gave me is the right one because all my tests are completely normal.
Of
I've
course.
one of the medications kind of helped, but the other ones didn't really help. And then the one that would really make the difference, I can't afford to try. So, you know,
Yeah, yeah. The one I take is not covered by insurance because it's not in their formulary. So I have to take another one first. I know that one won't help. So I'm just like, I'll just eat it and pay the, $45 a month for it or whatever it costs.
yeah. Yeah, this
At least
medication
it's one of the
would
cheaper
be,
ones.
yeah. I know I do. I go to Costco because Costco's the cheapest place. And I hardly use my insurance because it's cheaper through Costco than it is my insurance for most of my medications. But this
Yeah.
medication would be about $600 a month
Gosh,
if I
why?
was to use it. Yeah,
And
it's
it's the one that works and helps.
who knows. Yeah,
Oh,
it might
okay.
it
All
might
right.
if I had that issue, it would help, but I can't afford to take it to find out. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's nuts. The whole system is just,
Yeah.
it's they just want to make money off of us. So
Yeah, I was having a moment like that. Just was it yesterday? No, Thursday. I was having a bad fatigue day, and I'm just like, I'm doing the thing. I'm telling myself I'm doing the things. I'm eating correctly. I'm doing practicing mindfulness, getting rest, but still I'm super fatigued, and I'm like, God damn it! All these doctors just want to take my money
yeah,
and just say, here, try this drug. We don't know if it'll help or not. I mean, I'm
yep,
just speculating, but it's when you get the runaround constantly for years, it really wears you down.
it
It's
does. And
like,
I
I
I'm
just
like
want to
so
feel
scared.
better.
Yep, I'm so scared to get new doctors. Like I thought about getting a new primary doctor, but I'm like, what if it's worse? Like what if, because my primary, she was good in the beginning, but I think she doesn't have the bandwidth for somebody that has a lot going on. And I've never
Mhm.
had a doctor look at my case from like a big picture view, right? That it's so fragmented. And a lot of these
Yeah.
things, if it is what they say it is, are interconnected. And when I asked Stanford to do my genetics, because with mast cell stuff, there is a genetic component that can change how you manage it. And that's tied in with autism and EDS and all this other stuff. And so I asked for that and they said, well, you're not sick enough to work with a geneticist. And I'm like, okay, so I haven't been able to work for like a decade. I don't have a very good quality of life. But I'm not sick enough to get okay, so if I get I was thinking about getting a primary at UCSF because they actually do just basic genetics for all of their patients to look for like common predispositions and stuff, but
Yeah.
when they run it, they run the whole thing. And so that makes me feel like they might be more open to doing stuff like that. And also Stanford wouldn't do an autism evaluation because they said I'm not high needs enough
Okay.
for an evaluation, which is some ableist bullshit. Um,
Yeah. It's like,
so so I was like, maybe, and the nurse practitioner at the GI office that I've been working with, she she pointed me towards like a clinic at UCSF that sounds promising for that stuff. So I was like, maybe if I go there, then I could
Hmm.
actually get the diagnosis and start, because the psychologist that I worked with for ADHD, he said you should just assume you have it, live like you have it, kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all, but if I had the diagnosis, that gives me access to tools like medical advocates and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I'm really burnt out. I could use some help. So, you know,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So it'd be, so we'll see. I'm just like, I'm nervous about finding a new doctor, you know.
Yeah, that's never a good feeling. It's like it's nerve-wracking because you have to go through all the things again.
Yeah.
All the yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious because this is something I do and I've been called out on it before, but I'm really curious, like your background. Is that an Allen air purifier?
Yeah.
Because I think I have the same one
The
behind me.
45i.
Yes.
Yeah. I have two of them.
They're great.
Yeah, they are.
I'm just looking at that going, I got that one.
I have a molecule as well that I got when I owned my house, and I was never super happy with it.
Mhm.
And the Allens are so much better.
Yeah,
And
that's
but I do have the molecule running right now, so I have all three running because I'm trying to combat the weed smoke from next door, and
yeah.
it's really not working. So
That's too bad. Yeah.
yeah, so I've
Sorry.
I've been
I always look in the background going, ooh, that's
no, it's
cool.
okay.
All
No,
right.
yeah, if you had anything for me to be curious about, I would do the same thing. So plus I'd be excited. I'd be like, hey, I know what that is. Um, yeah, I like the app info, but I mentioned in my post that I don't like that they don't match
Mhm.
and I looked on their website and they have an explanation for that, but it's more about like micro changes, so like if your air
Okay.
quality
Yeah.
but the thing is my filter will be purple for an hour and it's never shows it in the app, and I feel like if it's purple for an hour, that's not related to micro changes.
Yeah. That's pretty steady.
Yeah, so
It's
I
that.
want
Yeah.
to I want to email them and ask them about that and be like, do I need to calibrate something? Like, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
what accurate data? Yeah, it makes such a big difference. Like I don't
It
have a lot of
does. Yeah.
issues with allergies and stuff, but I'll like open the window to air the place out sometimes, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, allergies.
Yeah, that's happened to me a few times too, and I'm like, "Why do I have the window open? Okay, it's gotta be allergies. If I'm sneezing like this, my eyes are all watery." It's like, "Okay, turn the
Yeah.
air purifier on high speed and close the windows and just let it do its thing."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I need to air it out so that so I don't have to run the dehumidifier as much because the
Well, there's
humidity will
that,
build
yeah.
up. So I'll kind of get the humidity out, then close it up again, and then because God, the dehumidifier costs so much to run right now,
Oh god, yeah, yeah.
crazy. But I got somebody, I don't know who, sent me a swamp cooler for my bedroom. So it showed up in my at my PO box the other
Oh,
day. Because my bedroom's on the sun side and I'm in an
okay,
upstairs
great.
apartment. So,
Oh my
um,
goodness, that's beastly.
yeah, and
That's oh my oh,
I'm not
wow.
used to it. Plus, with like the whole perimenopause, like is not my friend. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
So,
not quite there yet. I had blood work done like not yesterday, but a few weeks ago, and so far the levels are still normal. So I thought I was starting to get there, and I'm like, okay, yeah. So it's
oh well,
just the heat sensitivity for me,
yeah.
which is
My
awful. Ugh,
my understanding is the blood work is not because it changes all the time, that unless you were
yeah,
getting your blood work done like every day for a month, you wouldn't really know. But
the
most people,
fluctuations.
yeah, most people start
Okay.
menopause around like 40. Some people are early, but it's just really like that's why like a lot of women, they have an onset of like autoimmune and other health issues, and it all starts at about like the late 30s to 40, and it's tied
Oh
in with
my
the hormone
goodness.
changes. So, and
That
nobody
does make
talks about it
sense.
like that, but if you look at like all of the data, it's all there. It's like, you know, But yeah, I started having hot flashes a couple years ago and then they went away and I was like, okay, let's, and then I had the
Yeah.
hysterectomy and they want me to stay on the pill even though I don't have the uterus because of the stuff that my body does. So
Mhm.
that should help keep some of that stuff away for a little longer too.
Yeah, yeah, it's
But
it's it's interesting. Definitely. It's like when those things start to fluctuate and happen, it's like, okay.
yeah.
I did not read about this as I was a younger woman, and I should have. My mom
Yep.
never told me anything about this. This is all new stuff to me. So yeah, I've been like a keyboard warrior some nights going, "What is this symptom? Why am I doing this? My memory's gone to shit." And
Yeah, nobody
apparently that's
like,
the thing.
yep, there's so many things and there's no really like the only things that are really ever talked about are like the period stopping and mood swings and
Mhm.
things that help reinforce certain types of biases towards women. All the other stuff, the actual female experience of going through the hormones changes aren't really talked about that openly and are not really like
Yeah,
taken seriously by doctors that much and stuff. And
yeah.
it's so like, just when I started reading and learning about it, I got into this whole thing when I was learning about like the changes to the vagina that like happen through the hormones, but also if you're on birth control for a long time, the same sort of things can happen where the tissue atrophies because it's not getting enough estrogen. And so I like learned that if you actively use the vagina, that it stays healthier. It keeps like, so I was like, use it or lose it kind of
That's
thing.
what
And
I was
I,
just
yeah.
thinking, like, "Oh my gosh, it's a use it or lose it thing."
Yeah, and it makes a big difference in terms of like, the pain that can come from the tissue changing and stuff like that if women stay sexually active. And sexually active doesn't mean doing whatever men want to do, but actually having an enjoyable sexual experience for themselves,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because the stuff that men want to do doesn't really, yeah, it doesn't help us much.
It's true. Very true.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's again like stuff that's not really like talked about because female pleasure isn't prioritized as important in sex. So
No, it is
yeah,
very true. That's very true.
I'll get ranty about it. And yeah, I had like 2 years where I just like ranted about it a lot. And then I kind of was like started to like absorb the info enough. I was like, I don't need to rant about it as much. But I've had a few friends go through stuff like they had hysterectomies before I did, and they had I did not, I still have my ovaries. And so I ended up teaching them how to take care of things as their hormones change and stuff like that. And was like, use this product because it's pH correct and blah blah blah. And so I'm glad that my weird rabbit hole stuff ends up being useful for other people.
That's always a good thing. Yeah.
This is my mug that I got. I did NaNoWriMo and I bought myself a mug as my prize for completing it.
Good deal. Now,
Yeah,
are you having tea? Coffee?
coffee. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I can't do the tea plant has um oh, I forgot the word. Come
Is
on,
it the
brain.
is it the tannins
Yeah. I
that give
can't do
you
the
kind of like a
tannins.
okay. Yeah,
It's
my
like
mom
somebody
was like that
stabbing
too.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no grapes either. And then so I do coffee and I can do like I like doing like a ginger lemon, like an herbal tea in the evening to help with digestion. So
That's a good one. Yeah.
yeah. Manuka honey. What are you drinking?
I just finished a very strong chai. So
I
it's
really like
it's
chai.
just
I can't have it very often, but I really like it.
yeah, this one I forget was it Republic of Tea, I think is the brand. But wow, it was just like it's called a bold chai. It's like, yes, it is just bursting with spices and it's very good.
Hmm.
Very
There's
tasty.
a place, or was a place, could still be a place in Felton near Santa Cruz. It's a tea place, and they do this chai tea with orange peels in it that's like,
Oh, nice.
oh my God, it is so fucking good. The stomach ache is worth it. It is so good. Like
That with that little hint of citrus and oh yeah, that does sound
it's
good.
just, yeah, and it was like this really like just robust, like rounded, like chai flavor. It's just really like no other chai has ever been like so good that I've had. So it's like, I used to go there sometimes and it's just stuck in my memory. Yeah. So what's your favorite like ASMR thing to do?
To do, I like oh, that's a really good question. My gosh. I hadn't thought about that. Uh okay, hold on, brain. Do the thing.
Favorites are hard.
They are because I like a broad range of things. Like I do enjoy whispering. Um, I do enjoy like the Orbeez balls. So they're like the stress balls with the water beads inside. Like I call them squishy balls.
Yeah.
Um, but I enjoy those as well. Just like stress balls, I'll play with it at work, or like if I'm being weird, I'll hold it up to my ear and just squish on it. Just like this is so nice. Here, let me try change and um so I really do enjoy those noises and tapping as well. I do enjoy different types of tapping on different, mostly I think wood is my favorite. Kind of like a coconut shell is really a nice kind of hollow sound. It's kind of a
Huh,
deeper sound, but I enjoy that as well. I
cool.
don't enjoy mouth sounds too much, so I don't do that myself. Like there's this whole subgenre of the ear licking. And yeah, me too. I can't with it. I
Yeah.
will take the headphones off, turn the video. I'm just no. Mm-mm.
That's that's
I
not it's
can't.
not it's
Even if
yeah.
someone were right there doing it to me, I'd be like, listen, I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah. I'm like, that's a quick way to lose my interest.
Yeah, it's like you can just nibble the neck, but just leave the ears alone.
Yeah.
Just no, no. I'll
Yeah.
start saying no.
Like a nose on the ear, like where it's just a soft skin, that's
That's
okay. But
okay,
mouth
right?
stuff is just no.
Plus, it's
Yeah.
loud. It's so
Yeah.
loud, and you're
So
like,
loud.
get the tongue out of the ear. No, I can't handle it. And so it's but yeah, that's one thing I can't run with that one. Other people enjoy it a lot. I know many people do enjoy it. I have friends who do enjoy it. I'm like, great for you. I'm happy for you. It's not my thing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm more like the whispering and the tapping and the squishy ball type of thing are enjoyable for me. Yes,
Yeah.
squishy ball. I have a giant one. I was gonna grab it and have it here to show you. It's like the size of a grapefruit. It's
Uh-huh.
like it's a big one.
That sounds
I
cool.
I know
I've
that
never played with
it's like
those.
two-handed. It's
I
the
have like
two-handed one.
a popper thing on my bag and I'll be like playing with it, not even realize I picked it up. Now so I'm standing in line going pop, 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 pop,
Oh, that's nice. I
Yeah.
have one of those at work where it's like the because I love bubble wrap. That's like, oh my gosh, bubble
Yeah.
wrap, just pop it in all those little bubbles in line because I can't do it randomly. It doesn't feel nice to do it randomly. I gotta just pop each one anyway. But I do have one of those at work that's a dinosaur, a T-Rex. And
Yeah.
like I'll have a coworker come talk to me at my desk and he'll just start playing with it. He's like talking to me, just popping along, and I'm just like, yeah, that's what it's there for.
Yep. So when I pop them, I do one in each row, like rather
Hmm.
than, it's like if I have candy, I have to organize the candies by color. And then whichever ones I have the most of, I eat those until they're all the same. And then
Oh,
after that, I take one from each color and go down until they're all gone. That way it's like, it's funny. I've always been like that. Like that, Halloween, it
oh,
wasn't
that
about
must
candy.
be
It was about organizing the candy.
organizing the candy. Oh, I
Yeah.
hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
I
It
just
was,
like would pour it in and eat it, unless they're M&Ms because you got to save the green M&Ms because they're the best. But other than that, it was just like, oh, just
yeah.
hodgepodge
I
and
would
just eat it.
I would organize it all and then like my parents took the stuff they liked and then I would forget
Hmm.
about the candy. I'm really bad at eating candy. So yeah, it's too sweet. So and it ends up
Yeah.
that because I didn't really like chocolate when I was a kid, it ends up that it's because I don't like fake shitty stuff. So when I started having like real chocolate that uses like good
Hmm.
ingredients, I was like, oh, I
Uh-huh.
actually do like chocolate. I just don't like,
Hershey's.
this, yeah, the stuff with plastic in it.
Exactly. I had some Cadbury's, like dairy milk something or other. It wasn't Cadbury's, but it was a dairy milk, I think, brand, but it was so good. I was just like blown away by the difference from chocolate from the UK versus what we produce here, mass
Yeah.
produce anyway, I should say. There are chocolatiers that do their own thing that are very delicious, but it's just like, wow, this is good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a friend who got me chocolates for Mother's Day. And I felt really bad because I didn't like chocolate and he gave them to me and they were like from this place in San Francisco. Every single piece had a unique painting on it. It was
Oh,
like
wow.
you could tell they were like, woo.
Hmm.
And I was like, but I don't really like chocolate. And he was like, oh, okay, well, maybe you try them and see what you think or whatever, because they're from this fancy place. I was like, yeah, I will. And then I
Yeah.
tried one. I just took a little bite and it was like, ah. And then I started going to candy shops and looking at like different brands and trying different stuff. And then that was how I figured it out that I like the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when my health stuff started, I started sneezing when I eat good quality chocolate.
Interesting. What?
Yeah, it's the only
Like,
symptom. My nose doesn't run. I don't have like any, but I sneezed like 2 or 3 times, just like some people do when they go outside and the sun hits their eye. It's the same
mhm.
same sort of thing. And I don't know if it's an allergy
Strange.
thing. I have no idea, but like good quality chocolate, and I just sneezed. And I'm like,
So if you were
okay,
blindfolded and presented with chocolates, you'd know the good quality ones from the sneezing.
yeah, yeah. It's only once
That
it's in my
makes sense.
mouth though, so I would know either
Okay,
way.
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah. Okay, there you go.
That would be I have my friend sent me some art stuff. She sent me these little um post-it notes. And the picture on there is so cute. Like it's a little banana with a little dog.
Oh, that is cute.
I put that on there too on the book so that I can write because you're gonna have to pick numbers for me later and I have to write them down because I won't remember. I'll get distracted and my brain will be like, huh?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
call it squirrel from, I think it's the movie Up, Squirrel, where it's just I'm sidetracked. I'm like, squirrel. It happens a
Yeah.
lot at work. Like my boss will do it too. He'll yell out squirrel, and I'm like, it's not just me. But then I have a window at my by my desk, and I'll look out, and there's a squirrel running across the the, the parking lot, and I will scream out squirrel. Just and they're like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "No, the squirrel has a nut in his mouth. He's going to his little nest to put it away." And I watch this
Yeah.
squirrel all day back and forth.
I
It's
do
a
that when
lot
I'm
of
in the
fun.
car too. If I see a deer or something, I'll be like, deer. Like
Yeah.
yeah, when I was living in my house that I used to own, there was a resident squirrel who was had a very dirty mouth, just constantly yelling at us and just saying rude things all the time. And I tried like I could put up these bird feeders and I got like the proof bird feeders, not squirrel proof. Like that
Not with
squirrel
that
is
one.
that squirrel's MacGyver, like
He's like, I got chewing gum and duct tape. Don't think you can keep me out.
right. I heard this story about a lady that got locked in a bathroom stall. It like the lock broke or something, and
Oh,
she ended up getting herself out because she had some Q-tips and something else in her handbag. Um,
oh
and
my
so she was able
goodness.
to jimmy the lock, and then she's like, I credit MacGyver for helping me through this, and
Nice.
she forgot her phone, so she didn't have her phone, but she had like a Q-tip, and she had what she needed to pick a lock in the bathroom. Like,
That's that's awesome.
and I bet when they started that show, they never thought that it would become a word in our vocabulary. MacGyver that.
Exactly. Exactly. I remember being a kid watching those shows and it's just like, how could he do it with that? Okay, I got some wire. I got, some duct tape. I got chewing gum and maybe a piece of tin foil. What can we do? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. The 80s.
Yeah. So, yep.
So how has YouTube been for you, like in terms of people, like is it pretty quiet or do you get interactions on your stuff or
I have a small channel. I don't post regularly. I tried for a while and I found myself stressing myself out because for filming ASMR, you need a very quiet space. And that generally will happen in the wee hours of the morning, like deep night when everyone's asleep and I want to be asleep too. There were a few
yeah.
times I got up at 4 to get a set ready, get everything decorated and then filming. And then by 6 o'clock, I'm starting to film. And then people are getting up and getting ready to go. They're driving away to work. And I'm like, this is not working for me. So
Yeah.
I don't film as often as I would like to. Plus, I moved in February, a few months ago, and I'm still getting used to the space I have now, where I don't exactly know where the best spot is to film. So that's kind of it's been a troublesome for me, but I'll get there. Like, maybe it'll be in the hallway.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, but for me, it's been really quiet. I've got under 200 subscribers, but it was like I got to 100, and that was my goal for the channel, was to do it for a couple of years, see where it went for me. Um, and I found that through meeting people in the community, I really do want to maybe stream on Twitch. I just need to upgrade my current computer because it's really old and needs new components because my
Yeah.
laptop is just not going to work for me. Um, and then there's people I've met who live in the area who I actually do collaborations with, which is really fun as well. Um, for YouTube, it's been interesting. I don't see myself getting monetized. It's more of just a hobby and something fun for me to do, and to
Yeah.
kind of just, be creative as well. I
Yeah.
mean, I have all my little hobbies like counted cross stitch, and I discovered diamond painting not too long ago. And wow, I can just spend 5 hours doing that. It's like, I'll like look up and go, oh, it's dark now. I haven't eaten. Let's walk away from this. Like, I get that. It's so
Yeah.
focused. And gaming too. Oh, when I get the Xbox on, Leigh, I just focus. I can be
Yeah.
in Skyrim for 8 hours and not blink an eye at that. I'm just like, it's the
Yeah.
weekend. Whatever. I'm just like,
Yeah. I just started playing Death Stranding a
mhm,
little while ago and it yeah, I was playing Far Cry before that. So and I like for some reason I really enjoy just running everywhere instead of using vehicles or fast travel.
mhm,
And so Death Stranding is sort of it's a delivery game if you simplify it, but it has this really cool story and character stuff that's all built in. And so you literally are picking up and carrying packages from one place to the other. And I just take run around, take the long way. And it's yeah. I cannot start gaming at 8 p.m. because it won't be enough time to really get anything done if I'm going to bed
mhm.
at like midnight. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't want to stay up like super. My body doesn't. I used to stay up all the time, but now my body's like, hell, no, go to bed. But yeah,
Mhm.
in like
Yeah.
6 hours, I'll sit down. 6 hours will pass, and I'm like, it's bedtime already. Uh,
That's how I was the other day. I turned it on and I'm like, I'll just a couple games here. I was in, what was I playing? Fall Guys. And I was just a couple rounds here. 3 hours later, I hadn't eaten dinner and I'm like, I gotta stop now.
that game
It's
stressed
not
me
my
out.
it's not my priority is eating. I just have to remember to do it.
I
It,
played
it
Fall
stressed me
Guys,
out
and
at
it
first, and
yeah, I
I've
got
gotten a little used to it, but
I
now
can't
at the beginning it was just
people.
like people are trying to throw me off. How do I? And then I learned how to throw them off. I'm like, oh, that's how you do it. You hit this button here. Oh, now I can do the things that you're doing. Okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's also the lot of the falling is just like, I knew I had that jump. What the hell?
Yeah. I
But
get
that's true of any game. It's yeah.
when I fall, I can feel it in my stomach in the
Oh, that's
game.
so good.
And I don't like that. Like I don't like
Yeah,
roller
no.
coasters where you fall. So like I remember I was playing Borderlands and you had to jump off this building and I didn't want to do it because I knew I was gonna, and I jumped in. I'm like, ah!
Oh,
So games that involve falling are not.
that
I just watched a video about a game. I cannot remember what it's called. I think it's called like Only Up or something like that, where you literally are jumping on things all the way up into space, and it's just like I think it takes like 10 hours of play time or something nonstop to like beat it. But if you fail the jump, you fall from whatever height, starting from the ground all the way up to space. And I watched the video, I was like, no,
yeah.
nope.
Yep.
Hey everyone. I hope you enjoyed the first part of that conversation. Join us next week for part two. And if you want to hear the special question and answer segment that was recorded with Gracie, you can check it out on my Patreon. Link is in the episode information. And there is also a link to Gracie's YouTube for her ASMR stuff. So definitely go check that out and subscribe. And yeah, thanks for listening.